What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Mike Drop Sports. We appreciate you for diving in here with us on a Thursday here on the channel. We appreciate that. And a already weak Pittsburgh Steelers secondary, particularly that back end of the Pittsburgh Steelers secondary, could be even weaker against the Indianapolis Colts. And we're going to go over why that's going to probably happen and what maybe could be some potential fixes. We're going to take your comments, questions, and concerns inside of the live chat. We're also going to dive in about this Colts team a little bit, where they sit, where their strengths are. We're going to dive into their offense more tonight and defensively more tomorrow. We'll sprinkle in a little bit of that Colts defense tonight also, but we'll give you their top players and we'll dive into all of that kind of stuff also. But again, already weak secondary is going to have trouble here, especially on the back end with some guys that are basically new. The injury to Deshaun Elliott was a crucial injury, not just because he's a freak athlete and really, really good at what he does. The communication is going to be a mess. I mean, it's just natural. And how do the Steelers fix that? We'll dive into that too. How do they fix that communication issue, and what could they possibly do to fix that communication issue? Daniel Warman in the house. What's up, Big Dan? Yo. He says, what do you think about Jacoby Myers from the Raiders might sign with the Steelers? I mean, I would welcome it, Daniel. I would absolutely welcome it. But, I don't ever speculate too much about these trades and things. I know a lot of people will talk about them in depth and give you a bunch of their opinion about it. I'm just going to wait and to see. I would love it. I would love it. I think it would add another weapon to the Pittsburgh Steelers arsenal that's so desperately needed on the edges of that Pittsburgh Steelers offense. So, yeah, I would welcome that. But will it happen? I'm going to go with probably not. But will it happen? Hopefully, something like that does happen for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But you know what? Maybe the Steelers do make a trade with the Raiders, but it's not for a wide receiver. Maybe it's a secondary person. Maybe it's a linebacker. Maybe it's something else. But I don't know. I don't know exactly what would happen there. But the Steelers got to do something. You know that. I know that. Everybody in the chat knows that they have to make some moves in terms of the arsenal. You cannot continue to force feed the football to DK Metcalf. Hopefully, and I think the Steelers are hoping and putting a lot of faith in the fact that Roman Wilson is starting to come on a little bit. And I know that it's been a very tough road, but we all have to remember Roman Wilson is in year two. And year one was a complete and utter disaster for him in terms of injuries and other factors that we've went over on this show a million times. But I think the Steelers are hoping for the emergence of a Roman Wilson to continue to add to that. And I think that'll start to boost things up for guys like Calvin Austin also. You're looking at Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin, and right now, as it sits, those guys are 4 and 5s on depth charts in terms of, a real packed up stable of wide receivers for an NFL roster. So you're looking at those guys that wouldn't be playing in those twos, threes type roles. Those guys are role players, and they're hoping Roman Wilson starts to feed into a more of a every down type player, an edge type player that the Steelers can start to lean on, and that's what they drafted him for in round 3 of the draft when they went out there and got him. Steve says, no way Slay starts this week, right? I don't believe so. In my opinion, I think you have to move Eccles out there, Steve. I think Eccles is the only logical answer there, especially when you're looking at what the Steelers have at the safety position right now. You're looking at right now, honestly, on this depth chart, you're looking at Kyle Duggar, Chuck Clark, Jabril Peppers, and Thornhill. How do you make that work? You look at Duggar and you look at Peppers. They've played together before. They're safeties, man. I know people put a lot of stock into free and strong safeties. I believe a safety is a safety. You're just playing on one side or the other, left or right side of the formation, really. But in the Steelers defense, I think just a safety is a safety, and you got to do what you got to do. One, they want to come down and be a run thumper and play a lot inside of the box. They want another one to be able to play center field and make all the calls and the adjustments. And I think that's where the Steelers are going to run into the biggest issue this week against the Indianapolis Colts. A very potent passing game by the Indianapolis Colts right now this year. You have 2,062 yards from Danny Dimes with 8 games played, 173 completions for Danny Dimes, man. He's passing the football at a 71% completion rate right now, guys. He is going and doing work right now, averaging about 257 yards per game with 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Another good thing the Colts are doing is protecting Danny Dimes. 9 sacks this year for Dimes. And this Colts offense is absolutely lethal, led by Jonathan Taylor, a guy that has 12 touchdowns on the ground, 2 in the air, total 14 touchdowns right now. This guy is a monster. 8 games, 143 carries, 850 yards on the ground, and 12 touchdowns on the ground. He has an 80-yard long, so that tells you what he can hit a home run from anywhere. And the biggest statistic with Jonathan Taylor this year is zero fumbles. He hasn't put the football on the ground. He protects the football. So does this Colts offense. Danny Dimes, 3 interceptions. That's it. So the Colts offense knows how to move the chains and protect the football. And that is very, very big. But that's what we're talking about with this Steelers back end. You're talking about the Slay, possible benching of Slay and putting him more of as a situational type player. And I think that's the answer right now. Eccles is a guy that can play inside out, has to move outside right now, has to add some stability out there, a guy that wants to tackle. That's what the Steelers are looking for there. But the biggest factor in the Steelers secondary this week isn't Darius Slay, isn't Eccles. It is that back end with Jabril Peppers. How many snaps does Kyle Duggar get this week? A guy that's only going to have 2 practices under his belt in the walkthrough with his new squad in the Pittsburgh Steelers. How is he going to be able to fit into this Steelers defense, especially in the back end where you have to make those calls? So you're deferring to Jabril Peppers, who's going to have to make the calls. He's going to have to be the guy that lines everybody up and make those adjustments, pre-snap adjustments. How do you overcome those things? That's the real question. How would you overcome the communication issues? And basically, what it boils down to is dumbing down the defense that's already dumbed down, if you ask me. Allowing a guy like Jalen Ramsey to have more autonomy in being a communicator and moving people around and making calls and changing things out. But you want the guy on the very back end making those calls. That's what you're kind of wanting there. So maybe that's not something you're going to do, is allow Jalen Ramsey to kind of do those types of things. But you're going to try to figure out how to utilize Jalen Ramsey a lot better. His football IQ has to be utilized when you're going to struggle in the communication department. Um, what else can you do? I think the biggest thing for the Steelers right now in the secondary is what they can do on the back end is allow those guys to play fast and free. Allow them to just go out and play football. Don't try to overcomplicate it schematically. Do not try to overcomplicate it in any which way, shape, or form. You got to play dumb football here. Not dumb football, but a brand of football that just allows those guys to go out there, use their football instinct and football IQ, and go out there and allow them to play free. That's all that you're really going to be able to aim for this weekend if you're the Steelers. And that's why I think this game could get out of hand rather quickly, because the Colts are they're hitting their stride, man. They're 7-1 football team, leading the AFC South, and yeah, that's not a great division either. Neither is the AFC North at this point. But we're still decently early inside of the season, so we'll just Colts are a damn good football team. They're probably the best football team in the NFL right now because of the run, because of the pass, and I think if you lack communication, you're gonna struggle. And that's why I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are gonna really, really struggle, because I'm not sure. I've been trying to rack my brain. How do they overcome this communication problem that they are going to have? It's just inevitable. You have 2 guys on the back end, one that's not started. Jabril Peppers, a guy that's just been with the team a short time also. And then Kyle Duggar, like I said, 2 practices and a walkthrough. How do they overcome that? That's the biggest question for the Steelers this week. How maybe does that front part of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense play? How do the rushers play? Are they going to be able to apply some pressure? You look at Danny Dimes only being sacked 9 times. So the answer to that question is it's going to be a difficult chore to get Danny Dimes on his back. So that's going to be a problem also because they're going to have to be back there and they're going to have to cover and they're going to have to be able to make those high football IQ decisions. And it could spell real trouble. Again, Kyle Duggar, Chuck Clark, Jabril Peppers, and Thornhill. Those are the safeties currently right now for the Pittsburgh Steelers on the depth chart that are active type players. So we'll see what happens. Bang, bang. Whoa, Steeler gang. It's my birthday, Steeler gang. Well, happy freaking birthday. Happy birthday to AWOL. Bang, bang, Steeler gang, man. Everybody wish AWOL a happy birthday in the chat. Daniel Warman, I hope they don't sign Von Bell. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what you mean, Challenger, by who's out. I'm not sure. I just know the list I gave you. That's the only players that are active at the safety position. Happy birthday! I turned 61 Sunday. Too bad my Bengals are gonna lose. Well, happy early birthday to you, Daniel. We'll be on, so make sure you stop through so we can wish you happy birthday. Challenger says go Dolphins tonight. You're welcome, AWOL. Danny's wishing him a happy birthday. What's up, Danny George? And he give Trice a start. Maybe give Trice a start. That's from Steve. Trice is on the injured list. Trice can't stay healthy. That's Corey Trice's problem. I love to roll the dice with Corey Trice. Physically, you look at Corey Trice and you say to yourself, how can't this guy be good? But this guy is not able to stay healthy, and that's the problem. And you look at the injured slash reserve list right now, and he's on it. So, you got Trice and Kent. Those are the 2 cornerbacks right now on the injured reserve list for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then you look at cornerbacks that are on the practice squad right now. You look at Beanie Bishop, Jameson, Daryl Porter Jr. Those are the names you have to choose from right now if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers in terms of bringing somebody up or moving somebody around. Maybe you give Beanie Bishop a call up, put Slay to the back burner, Eccles to the edge, and bring Beanie Bishop in for that slot role. Maybe that's what you do. Maybe that's an option for the Pittsburgh Steelers if Slay doesn't want to tackle. Yeah, that's the one I answered. Yeah, I just don't know, man. You're calling everyone bang bang. That's right, baby. They said today he's 100% of as of today. Who Corey Trice? I don't buy it. I mean, maybe he is, but I maybe he gets called up. I don't know. Here's the problem with him, Steve. He can't stay healthy. So even if he is, and I didn't hear it, maybe he is, and I'll trust your information there. But maybe they do. But the kid can't stay healthy, and I hate it for the young man. I love him. I think if he could put it all together in terms of his health. I think he could be a phenomenal corner in this league. And I think it would give the Steelers exactly what they're looking for. And that's what they want. And they've wanted it for quite some time for Corey Trice to develop into a starter in this league. Because you're putting Joey Porter Jr. and Corey Trice out there. You have 2 massive bodies, 2 big physical corners, and that's what you're looking for if you play the brand of defense that Steelers do or want to play. You look at what they want to do in terms of how they want to draw this shit up is they want to be able to play press man coverage out on the edges, and they want to be able to play a combination of zone inside in the interior, but they want to be able to use those press man guys out there on the edge to allow time to get to the passer. That's the kind of defense they want to play. I mean, we'll see. We'll see if that ever happens, but it doesn't seem to be working out so far. Trice had his windows open, or his window opened. Oh, okay, he had his window open to return. Okay, well, maybe he does. We'll see. But as of right now, I think the quick fix is Eccles goes to the outside, and maybe you bring up a Bishop, maybe you bring up a Trice, maybe you do something. Maybe you open up one of those guys, bring him in. Again, Bishop's on the practice squad. He had some interceptions last year. Did he play phenomenal? No, but hey, he did what he had to do. I wouldn't be scared to bring up Beanie Bishop and throw him into the football game. It wouldn't bother me. So that's a luxury to have on your practice squad. So I'm okay with that. Trice, Bishop, I think those are options. But I think the immediate thing that you do is slide Slay out to the bench and put him in more of a situational role, and you bring in Eccles to the outside, a guy that we know can play the outside. I think that's a simple, easy one thing you can do right now. Well, I hope maybe they do, Mark. We'll see. Jason, did the Steelers design the secondary to compete in the AFC North Division? In theory, that's what they were designing it for. Absolutely, Daniel. You're right. That's what they were trying to do. But as of right now, it hasn't worked. Whether we blame that on schematics, whether we blame that on players, either way, they got to figure it out some way, somehow. And I think the easiest solution here is to dumb down. Well, the schematics look dumbed down. We'll say that, but maybe just dumb them down even more. It is the NFL, so maybe it is more complex than we're all seeing just because it's not working. So we're thinking it's not as complex. But anyway, dumb it down as best you can. Make it really simple and allow these guys again to just play fast and free. And I think that starts to solve some of the issue back there. I don't want guys thinking. I don't. I don't want football players that are thinking at any level. And I hate to say that because that sounds like, oh, you want dumb players? No, that's not what I'm saying. Practice is where you think. Practice is where you get a zillion repetitions at that so you don't think. It becomes an instant reaction, it becomes a reflex for you as a football player. That's the type of ball player I'm looking for. And if Mike Tomlin was smart, that's what he would be looking for too. We don't want players thinking out there on Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays. We don't want that. We want players that are going to come out and their body is so in tune, their mind, because they've watched so much film and they've dedicated so much to the sport, that their football IQ is one in which that they can just go out there and their body and their mind instantly react to situations that are going to be presented in front of them. And that is what we're looking for right now if you're the Steelers. And I think, again, dumb it down, allow them to play loose, man. Don't put pressure on it. It is what it is at this point. You've given up a ton of yardage in the pass game. You've basically got your fucking doors ripped off, and it's a real issue. You're coming against some guys that are pretty good. You look at the tight end, Tyler Warren, tight end, 37 catches, 492 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns, averaging 13 yards a catch. That's going to be a problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers, guys. They have struggled guarding the tight end, and you're facing a very good one here that could increase his statistics in a major, major way come Sunday at Acrisure Stadium. Tyler Warren and Daniel Jones have been in sync. Yes, there's only 3 touchdowns there, but you got Michael Pittman Jr., who has 6 touchdowns right now. He's really done well, averaging 10 yards a catch on 43 catches, 446 yards for Michael Pittman Jr. Big, big, big man. That's 10, basically almost 10, 9 touchdowns between 2 targets right now. And Danny Dimes has thrown 12 touchdown passes. So those guys definitely get fed the football by Danny. So you got to be on the lookout for that. You also got to be on the lookout for Alex Pierce Jr. or Alex Pierce, 18 catches, 386 yards. The 18 catches part makes you say, I ain't scared, but look at the yardage. 386 yards on those 18 catches, guys. That's averaging 21.4 yards per catch. He has no touchdowns as of yet, but what are they using Alec Pierce for? They are using him for big time splash plays. He is moving the chains in a major way when needed. I know there's only 18 catches there, but it's somebody that the Steelers need to pay ultra attention to. And that gives right now 3 targets in terms of pass catchers right away. But then you look at Jonathan Taylor, a guy that scored 2 touchdowns in the pass game already, giving you a 4th target in the pass game. That is a nice arsenal to have for productive players being able to catch the football for you. He has 2 touchdowns on 25 catches out of 27 targets. So he doesn't drop the football when it's thrown to him for 206 yards for Jonathan Taylor. So not only is he running the football, he is an effective guy out of the backfield for the Indianapolis Colts. And that is dangerous for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have trouble with the checkdowns and they have trouble guarding the tight ends. And the third thing they have trouble with in the pass game is guarding the number 3, guarding the guy that's playing the slot. They really, really struggle playing the slot receiver. And there it is. Bam. Right there. Alec Pierce. Man, this is spelling right now. If you look at what they have on paper, you look at this, and I've been dissecting it a little bit today in between some of my other things that I was doing. The Steelers, this is a real recipe for disaster, guys, because I don't know how you come off of the last 2 games in terms of defensive football for the Pittsburgh Steelers and come in and correct it against this football team, this 7-1 football team that's coming into Acrisure Stadium, probably the best team in the National Football League. AWOL bang bang. I keep hearing MVS signs next week. Any news? No news yet. Nothing's changed. Had a workout. They want him, but they're going to bring him in for the practice squad, and MVS doesn't want that. Maybe the Steelers, maybe they figure it out. I don't know, but no changes there, at least from my knowledge as of yet. Mark Malone. Yeah, if these bastards can't get on the same page by now, I don't think we can dumb it down and to a lower level. I think you're right, Mark. That's what I'm thinking in my head as a logical thinking human being. I'm thinking to myself, shit, what are we gonna do? How can you dumb it down anymore? Big Tom Ford in the house. What's up, Jason, and the rest of the Steelers chat? Nothing, buddy. Good to see you, Big Tom Ford. Mark Malone again, or I guess I should say we can't dumb it down to a low enough level. True. Grant Ogren in the house. Always look forward to these lives. Best Steelers content out there. God bless. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it, man. Steve says, I just refuse to believe this defense is this bad. I hope we're wrong, Steve, and I hope it's just one of those rough patches. As Steeler fans and fans of football in general, you see teams go through rough patches often. Football is a game that sometimes you get in a rut and it's hard to climb back out of it. But when you climb out of it, all of a sudden you start to find yourself a little bit. You find that energy, you find that vibe. Sometimes those things change. Sometimes the numbers don't tell the story of what a football team is really about until they hit that stride and they start correcting things. So I hope you're right. I hope, man. But as I sit here right now, again, the communication is the real issue for me as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan when I look at what is possibly going to happen here as they move forward with Jabril Peppers, Kyle Duggar, until Kyle Duggar starts to get himself into a more of a knowledgeable state of the defense that the Pittsburgh Steelers would like to run. Also, another news, Kyle Duggar will wear number 29, I believe. I think that's what they announced today. AWOL says they don't have no chemistry yet. It will come. Don't give up on them. I never give up on them. I'll say that, boys. I don't give up on them. Robert Rhodes says the biggest strength of the Colts offense is the O-line combined with a home run hitter at running back who also runs with power. Amen. And that's what I brought up too, Robert. I don't know if you heard it. 9 sacks only for Daniel Jones so far throughout this season, through 8 games for the Indianapolis Colts. And that is probably the biggest statistic that isn't, some eye-popping passing number or something. That statistic right there tells me this. The offensive line is good. What else tells me the offensive line is good? Is Jonathan Taylor fucking eats, bro. And that tells me that the offensive line is really good. When you have a runner right now sitting at 850 yards on 12 touchdowns on the ground, that tells me you're doing something right, man. And all that does, as that runner continues to do well, it just gives that offensive line more and more and more confidence. And it's going to take a dagger, man. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have to really go out there and smack them in the mouth to slow that run game of Jonathan Taylor down because they are firing in all cylinders, and that is going to prove to be a very, very Uh, big challenge for the Steelers. Need a slump buster? Yeah, no shit. Tom Ford says, I was planning on going up to Pittsburgh to watch the Steelers play the Ravens in December, but if they keep losing, I'm going to cancel my trip. I'm not flying all the way up there to watch them. I don't blame you. You said that the other night, man. I said, save your money. All right, guys, make sure you're putting your comments, questions, and concerns inside of the live chat here on Steel City Live, only here on Mike Drop Sports. I'm your host, Jason. As always, we're going to continue to dive through this Colts football team. Some of their defensive leaders that are popping up here to me. I look at that safety tandem of the Colts, and I say to myself, wow. Nick Cross, Cam Bynum, Nick Cross, 35 solo tackles, 56 total tackles, 1 interception, 3 pass defenses. You look at Cam Bynum, 19 solos, 5 pass defenses, and 2 interceptions. Leads the Colts with interceptions. I look at that safety tandem and I say nasty. So you're going to get a lot of too high with that Colts team, and I think the Steelers struggle against that. They get definitely flustered, I think, with Aaron Rodgers with that too high shell. How are they going to combat that? They're going to have to utilize the underneath and throw across the middle and really start to dump things down to the tight ends. They're going to have to start to get guys like Calvin Austin on drags, Roman Wilson on drags, those guys that have legs that are very fast, even DK Metcalf. Get those drag routes, those underneath, those misdirection type routes out there and dump the football to those guys and allow them to make plays in the open field. That's what you're looking for. So the Steelers are going to need to block downfield effectively, and they're going to need to be able to catch the football on those quick hitters, man. And I think that's the thing for the Steelers this week is tight ends need to be involved, moving the chains with those quick out routes, those quick slants, those quick seam routes, those quick routes to the tight end that gain you those 5-6 yards. And the Steelers are going to need to utilize those in chunks this weekend, but they can't get one dimensional with that bullshit heavy package constantly. They're going to have to utilize Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell out of the backfield. They're going to have to utilize, again, the speedy wide receivers and dump the ball down to them on those nice, quick drag routes, those quick slants off the line of scrimmage, those quick drags off the line of scrimmage. And I think that'll start to loosen up that defense of the Colts, draw them back down a little bit. Maybe you're not seeing as much too high shell, and you're going to get to see more traditional type things where the Pittsburgh Steelers can keep them a little bit off balance. Bang says JPJ needs to stop getting penalties. I swear he has an only holding fans page. Yeah, I mean, the kid definitely gets in trouble with penalties, man. No doubt about it. It's a definite real issue for Joey Porter Jr., but I think he can clean it up as time goes on. And I think sometimes too, um, you look at the position he plays and it's a spotlighted position. So we just got to remember and put things into perspective. I think Joey Porter Jr. overall has done a decent job, but I think that there's a ton of room for improvement, and the time and the clock is ticking on him. In my opinion, you don't give guys 5-6 years to develop. You give guys 2-3 years to start to develop, and we'll see what happens there. But I still like Joey Porter Jr., so we'll see. Let's get to one more chat comment here. Make sure you're putting your comments, questions, and concerns inside of the live chat here for us on Steel City Not Live. Like, share, subscribe, all that good shit. Check us out on TikTok, Facebook, and again, also here on YouTube. We're almost to 5,000. We got to hit that, my friends. We got to hit that soon. Daniel says, I'll be watching the games from my home in Colorado, but if it were at a game I could be chanting to fire Tomlin with, a sign to match. Hey, yeah, they don't play in Denver this year, man. Mike says JPJ, I don't see any changes in his game, not that much at all. I don't think you need a ton. I mean, the guy didn't give up a touchdown for 33 consecutive games. And I can't remember if that streak continued. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, he was doing okay. I just don't think he's horrible. The penalties suck. I get it. But this is a very ticky-tack league, too. We have to remember that, too. He's going to play aggressive, and you can't tell him not to play aggressive. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, and we'll see the continuation of Joey Porter's career here. And hopefully, as the defense maybe gets better as a whole, that starts to reflect out towards Joey Porter Jr. and things look a little bit better for him in terms of penalties and things of that nature. You again, Colts guys. Jones looks super comfortable back there, man. He looks comfortable, strong arm, accurate. Again, over 70% completion rate. That's really, really good, man. And also, this Colts offense utilizes some nice motion moves. They utilize some motion with misdirection mixed in with it. And I really, really like that at all levels of football. I think if you don't have misdirection inside of your offense, I think your offense is stale, stagnant, and shitty. You have to have misdirection inside of your offense if you're a football coach. Point blank, period. You have to have it because otherwise defenses aren't confused. All they got to do is sit back there on their heels and just watch, read, and react. When you have misdirection, you're going to have people misreading plays, and we'll see what happens. But I think the Colts utilize motions and misdirections really, really well, and especially with a runner like Jonathan Taylor, that really benefits him. And I got to say this. I think the emergence of Danny Dimes here and Jonathan Taylor's continuation of being a really good back this year in the league and just being absolutely stellar this year, I think schematically the Colts are really, really well coached. I think schematically they're doing some really, really nice things, man. You look at the Steelers' offense, yeah, Aaron Rodgers might say he likes Arthur Smith, but how much motion, how much misdirection do you see from the Pittsburgh Steelers? I don't see a ton of it. So I ask myself, where are those things in the Steelers' offense? I think the Steelers need to be more exotic in their looks. I think that keeps the offense on the field and the defense off of it. So we'll see, man. But definitely the Steelers need to start utilizing some of that motion, some of that exotic stuff, that misdirection type stuff, some of the more tricky type things. That's not really trick plays, but just tricky, mind tricky. All right, let's go. We'll catch back up in the chat. I was referring to his clutching, not turning his head around. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. You got to take good with bad with him sometimes. I think overall, in my opinion, I just think he's okay. I just don't think he's like horrible. And I know a lot of people ride Joey Porter Jr. sometimes, and justified. I'm not arguing that, but again, I think overall, I think he's a fine ball player. It's just he's got to put some things together, and sometimes when you're playing on a defensive secondary that's absolutely fucking horrible and gives up massive amounts of yardage, the spotlight's even more magnified onto the a player, when they get a penalty and things of that nature. Daniel Warman, you all have the best kicker in the NFL. Oh, hands down, Chris Boswell, Wizard of Boz. Here comes Santa Boz, baby. The best kicker, Hall of Fame kicker, if you ask me. But this week, the Steelers can't settle. In weeks going forward, they cannot continue to settle for the consistency of Chris Boswell. And I love Chris Boswell. I love watching him make 56-yard kicks. I love watching him nail 50-yarder after 50-yarder. I love it. He's the best, but I want to see touchdowns, and I think that hurts the Pittsburgh Steelers defense tremendously. The Steelers for years have struggled relying on Chris Boswell because the offense has been anemic, and they cannot continue to live that way in today's NFL. AWOL says, why are we scared of the Colts? Can you please read out all the teams they beat? We will be the best team they played. No, the Broncos, they played the Broncos. They're a good football team. They beat them 29-28 in week 2. Danny Dimes had 316 yards against the Broncos in that game in week 2. Again, a very close 29-28 win for the Indianapolis Colts. They played the Rams. That was in week 4. They beat them 27-20. A good football team in the Rams in a loss there against them. That's their sole loss in a close game. 262 yards passing for Danny Dimes in that matchup. Then you look at the Chargers, a really, really good football team playing with Justin Herbert and company. 38-24. That was a win for the Indianapolis Colts, and Danny Dimes had 288 yards passing. Other than that, they played the Dolphins. They demolished them, which they should have, 33-8. They played the Titans twice now. They beat the Titans 41-20 in week 3. Then they just beat the Titans in week 8 here, 38-14. Danny Dimes had 228 in the first game, 272 in the second matchup. So really ultra effective against them both times, and that's a divisional opponent. So playing divisional opponents usually is a little bit of a different animal, but they played them really well. They beat the shit out of the Raiders 40-6. Jones had 212 yards passing there. You look at the Cardinals game, they won there 31-27. That was a tight matchup. So yeah, you could say that they've played some shitty teams because they have. But they've played some good football teams in there. So maybe the numbers are inflated a little bit. But I got to say this, you can't discount what they've done. 7-1, they lead the AFC South. You look at the AFC South, Colts, Jags, Texans, Titans. Texans are starting to figure it out. They've clawed back to 3-4. The Jags are 4-3, same as the Steelers. And the Titans are 1-7. So yeah, they got their Browns in that division too. You look at the AFC North. Steelers 4-3, Bengals 3-5. You have the Ravens and the Browns both sitting at 2-5. So you look at the divisions, similar in terms of strength. If you ask me, at this point in the season, I think the AFC North, in terms of quality of teams, are superior there. I think the AFC North wins 9 times out of 10 against the AFC South with all the teams, in my opinion. But right now, the Colts are doing really, really well, man. I don't think that there's a real issue there with their quality of wins. The Broncos are a really good team. The Rams is the only team they lost to, and the Rams can do it, man. They can play really, really well. And the Chargers are a good football team. So, who have the Steelers really played? They've had 3 tough games also. They played the Pats, Vikes, and Packers. And guess what? The same 3, the Steelers. So let's just break it down like this, guys. The Steelers have played, in my opinion, going through their schedule, 3 quality opponents. And you look at the Colts, they have played 3 quality opponents. So, and we look at their records against the 3 quality opponents that each team has played, and they're both 2-1 football teams against quality opponents. So that's good, even. You're happy for the Steelers there. But when you look at teams that they should beat, the Steelers don't match up there. The Colts are handling their business against teams that they should beat. And they're not just beating them, they're beating the shit out of them. They are curb stomping those teams that they are supposed to beat. That is the difference between the Indianapolis Colts and the Pittsburgh Steelers currently as it sits right now. The Steelers don't typically beat teams sometimes that they should beat. They suffer those losses, and it kills momentum, man. It hurts their football team overall. And Mike Tomlin's got to figure that out about his ball club. Let's be honest. The Bengals game, that was a game they should have won. Yes, it was a divisional opponent, but the Bengals had a lot of issues at that time. A lot. And they still do have a lot going on. They should have won that game. The Seahawks game, they should have won that game too. I don't think the Seahawks are a juggernaut football team. The Steelers should have won that game. Then you look at the Jets game, a team that just got its first win, and the Steelers almost find a way to lose that 34-32. Crazy, man. But I see what you're saying, AWOL. Robert Road, Stitchen is a coach I wanted years ago. He coaches circles around Tomlin every time. Tomlin is not hard to coach a circle around, though. That's the thing. Steve says Herbig needs way more snaps. Couldn't agree more, man. Herbig, I'm not sure, man. I am absolutely fucking puzzled as to why Herbig doesn't start right now. Honestly, I think he deserves it. I think he earned it. Because that's his nickname, Danny Dimes. That's why I call him Danny Dimes. That's his nickname. That's been his nickname ever since he's been in the league. Danny Dimes. Everybody always called him that, so I just call him Danny Dimes. Dimes. And he's throwing fucking dimes right now. I mean, the guy's on fire, dude. He's on fucking fire. His statistics: 2,062 passing yards, 8 games, 173 completions on 243 attempts. That's 71% completion rate. He's averaging 257.8 yards per game. He has 12 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions, and he's only been sacked 9 times. So that tells me, yes, he has a good offensive line, but that tells me he's been able to manipulate the pocket also. You got to hand it to Danny Dimes here, man. And that's been his nickname since he's been in the league. It is what it is, and he's living up to it at this point. Maybe it's the schematics, maybe it's the coaching, whatever. He is performing at a very, very high level, and you got to give credit where credit is due. The Colts killed the Chargers. The Colts' loss at the Rams was when the wide receiver showboated and dropped the ball before crossing the goal line, or they might be undefeated. Yeah, maybe they are. A loss is a loss, though. We can talk about these losses, but when that game's finished, a loss is a loss in the loss column. Whether you fucked it up or not, you lost. And they lost. So, but you're right. That could have changed it, definitely. And that could be. They could be 3-0 against quality opponents. Mike, talk about Colts smelling blood into water. Absolutely, they smell blood in the water. While Mike drops, you broke that shit down. I do a lot of things that I normally don't even read to you guys, just because I like it. Challenger says, Steelers rarely destroy any team. Not anymore. If they have a big lead, Tomlin will do everything to let the other team back into the game. Yeah, that is true. He does take his foot off the gas, and I've said that is a major, major coaching flaw of Mike Tomlin. A major deficiency is I feel like the foot is taken off the gas pedal on a frequent basis, and that's why I'm saying you look sometimes at these games and they should be blowouts, but yet we're sitting there, with a 1-score game, and you wonder why Mike Tomlin has such a great 1-score game record. It's because every fucking game is 1-score. So yeah, he's gonna have a great 1-score game record. People rave about that, but I'm like, brother, you're literally in a 1-score game every week. Super chat coming in from a friend of the show. There he is. Another one. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. He says, I'm not feeling super confident, which usually means the Steelers surprise me. So we'll see, hoping for a win. That's from another Wombat. Thanks again for the super chat coming in here tonight with the super. Thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. Super chats are always wide open here on the show. If you want your comment instantly read, boom, there it is. It'll cut right in and we will read it instantly. But we always get to everybody's comments too. So I appreciate the super chats. They are very, very much appreciated. And thanks, another Wombat, a friend of the show for a while here. And we appreciate another Wombat. Wow, bang, bang, Steeler gang. Y'all never noticed that when Mike Tomlin gets a lead, they run the ball and try to run the clock out, and other teams come back. That's his MO. Yeah, and I'm not mad about running the ball and trying to take the air out of the game. I'm not pissed about that. I'm pissed about the overdoing it. I think that there needs to be some versatility in there. I think that you need to still keep defenses reeling. I think when you get on a rhythm and a roll with something, you go and attack it and you don't take your foot off that gas pedal. Yeah, there comes points of the game to where you got to take and deflate the game. You got to take the air out of the stadium. You got to grind it. And you got to run the ball. You got to really eat the clock up. That is part of the game. But I think you can eat the clock up also with an extension of the run game. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Those short to underneath, those intermediates, short underneath type passes, those drag routes, those tight ends, quick ins, outs, ups, whatever. You got to utilize those guys in that quick passing game. And I'm not saying it has to be instantaneous like a screen. I'm not saying that. But it needs to be 1, 2, drop, plant, fire. That's two-step drop to me, three-step drop. I think that that's exactly the type of ball game that they need to be playing at times, because you can still utilize the pass and you can still take time off the clock. You can still grind the game down, wear down the game. I can guarantee you, Mike Tomlin, knowing Mike Tomlin football for years now, this game, he is going to come into it with the mindset from the start, that you got to take the ball away from Daniel Jones. You got to take the ball away from Jonathan Taylor, and you need to run the football effectively. And he's right. But you got to do more than just run the football. You have to be able to utilize the pass game. You have to be able to score points. And settling for Chris Boswell field goals is not enough to win in today's league. It's just not enough, guys. Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you again. That was good. Thank you. I appreciate that when you guys thank people for the super chats. Also, it shows you guys care. I appreciate that. Challenger, I think it puts our defense at risk. When does this guy get hurt? Got to get a big lead, sit starters, get backups playing time. Here's something too, and I say this too, at every level of football. I am sorry, reps got to be spread around. The superstars don't get the ball all the time. You're setting yourself up for failure when you do that. Things have to be spread around. When are teams effective offensively? When? It's when they spread the ball around to a multitude of different targets, through the run, through the pass. That's when teams are ultra effective, because it adds depth, first and foremost. Secondly, it gives players invaluable experience, and it keeps defenses on their toes, because no matter the formation, they're not 1000% certain who's going to get the football. There are certain offensive situations for the Pittsburgh Steelers. When I see them come out in certain offensive predicaments and sets, I say to myself, this is where the ball's going. And 9 times out of 10, that's where the ball's going. If Jason, a fair weather type football person, I'm not Mike Tomlin. I don't get paid to coach. I'm not Omar Khan. I don't get paid to build rosters. I'm not an NFL assistant. I don't get paid to coach people or draw up schematics. But if I can tell you plays and diagnose plays from the offense just through watching tape, just through watching the game, there is issues there, man. And most of you as fans can do the same thing and be highly, highly accurate, highly, highly consistent in your assessments. It's truth, guys. It's very, very true. Um, there's a lot of open plays too. There is a lot of open plays against this Colts defense. The thing with the Colts defense, though, is they don't give up those open plays often. They don't give up a ton of big plays. They just don't give it up. But are there opportunities? Absolutely. Absolutely. When I watch the tape, there are holes in that offense or in that defense. There are options. There are ways that the Pittsburgh Steelers can beat this defense. And again, what I mentioned, those quick passes have to be utilized, guys. And if you start to see the Steelers start to do that, and again, I'm not talking about screen game. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about quick, short passes. I'm talking 5 yards, we'll say 5, 6 to 10 yards. That area, that range, that's where the Steelers need to attack. Sitting in front of those safeties, bringing them up, drawing them up, get the run game in that rhythm. Short passes, 6 to 10 yard passes consistently. Draw them safeties back up into the box. Continue to bring everybody up to want to play that press. That opens up those play action pass games. That opens up those misdirection type fakes to where you can spin around and bomb the ball deep to a guy, i.e. Calvin Austin, i.e. Roman Wilson, DK Metcalf. That is what the Steelers have to do, guys. Watch Sunday. If the Steelers come out and they're able to start to do those things in the first couple series, what I'm talking about, starting to move the ball a little bit through the run game, but utilize that pass game, that 6 to 10 yard zone that we'll call it, that is going to start to be really, really effective. And if the Steelers can be consistently doing that, by the second quarter, you'll start to see the Pittsburgh Steelers be able to really hit big plays, big splash plays over the top of that defense. All right, let's go. Um, hold on. Why does Aaron Rodgers always those dunk passes in your? Why does he use those dump downs, like the screens and dump downs to the running backs and stuff? I like them here and there. There's a use for those, but why does he do it? It's the answer's simple, and the offensive line is the answer. The pressure is in his face instantaneously at times, and that is the problem. When was Aaron Rodgers being really effective there? You look at that 3 game win streak against the Pats, Vikes, Browns. That stretch right there in that part of the season. Aaron Rodgers had 139 passing against the Pats, 200 against the Vikes, 235 against the Browns. But you look at those wins and you say to yourself, every one of those yards was just money, man. They were consistent, good passes, and you got more bang for your buck there. But the pressure wasn't in his face as much. And I felt like they utilized those 6 to 10 yard passes effectively also. I felt like they utilized that space on the football field effectively. And again, that draws down that shell that Aaron Rodgers is always talking about playing against. When he wants to hit those big plays, that starts to draw that down, and they got to utilize that. But why does he hit those a lot? It's the answer's simple. It's just the offensive line. But thank you for asking that, Tom. That's a good question. AWOL, do you really think Jamar Chase and T. Higgins really knew Mike Tomlin's schemes, or was they just bragging after the win? No, AWOL, they know. Everybody in the league knows. Everybody that has played Mike Tomlin for years knows. You've heard Julian Edelman talk about it on his podcast. Mike Tomlin plays the same shit that he played against him. And again, we've talked about that. They struggle. They're constantly putting a linebacker on the 3. You can't do those types of things and win. They schematically aren't able to handle the tight end play. They're not able to handle the slot play. Yeah, they load up on the bigger name guys at times, and they get beat up by those guys that maybe aren't the bigger name guys most of the time. But Higgins, Chase, they know what they're going to do. And that's no bullshit. They know. Tom Ford, why does Aaron Rodgers always throw those? We already did that. He said, well, Swelker. Yeah, several people, man. Several people. Mark Malone says, dude, he doesn't have time to throw downfield. No, he don't. Robert Road also says the O-line doesn't give Aaron time very often to throw that ball down the field. Absolutely. You guys know it as well as I do. Jason ain't reinventing the wheel with this. You guys see it. You know it. You guys are knowledgeable football fans. I got to say it, and I'll say it again, and I say it every day, man. This group of people in this chat, the people that are OGs that are always in this chat, you guys know ball, man. Jason ain't telling you anything. We're just here bullshitting and going over some things. Maybe I give you my insight, and maybe that, is just cool for conversation. But I don't know more than you. You guys see it as well as I do. Mike, the way I'm approaching this game is to not have much expectations. But when you back a team into a corner, you never know. I can agree with it, Mike. I can agree with it. Sometimes desperation is the best medicine to right the ship, and especially in a physical game like football. Sometimes when you are playing for your life, playing, there is no tomorrow type feeling. Sometimes that is the medicine you need to get going again. Vincent Stokes, 203. Corey Trice is straight. I watched him play the last time he was on the field, and he was straight trash. The dude got beat the whole game. Please stop even talking about him. He is no help at all. That's from Corey Trish. Or Vincent, or sorry, he meant Corey Trice, but Vincent Stokes. I can't say that he's trash. I think that he just hasn't been available to gain the experience that he needs, to be honest. So, I mean, am I counting on Corey Trice? No. No. Is his window open? Yes. Is he an option? Yes. Am I putting a lot of faith in it? Absolutely not. All right, guys, we've been going for almost an hour here on Steel City Live. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you didn't get to catch it all live, you can catch it once it uploads, and make sure you turn your notification bell on here at the channel to make sure you are here for content that just comes out. We truly appreciate that. We are back in full swing here at Mike Drop Sports, and we are truly blessed to have all of you here donating super chats, hitting the like button, getting in the chat with comments, creating conversation. You guys are absolute rock stars, and we appreciate every one of you here. And I run this show all by myself, man. I don't got no producers. This ain't no fancy bullshit. This is Jason having fun talking to you guys about football, and it's a good time. So make sure you tell a friend and bring them along here to join the conversation here on Mike Drop Sports and the live show, Steel City Live. All right, guys, we're going to bounce up out of here. Again, thank you so much for all your support tonight. We truly appreciate that, and enjoy the best intro, outro music in the game. It is. It's the best. It's the best right here on Mike Drop Sports. See you tomorrow. Hold on. Sorry, guys.
Power takes an approach as a coach.
Let's go. Let's go. It's a field back block, and that's